Hey everybody, it's Mr. Ryan. We're going to jump in here to Chapter 5, Section 4, Solving Radical Equations. Now remember, anytime you need to pause the video to catch up on doing something, get something written down, please do so. Now, if you were able to print the note sheet, that's great. If not, so what? No big deal. So I'm going to leave the note sheet here on the left so that you can see it. If you have that in front of you, feel free to write right on that. That's great. Otherwise, if you're working on just a notebook paper or whatever it is you got, any piece of paper, I'm going to draw in notes on the right side so that we can kind of follow along. That way I'm doing it, kind of make our own notebook here. So good thing to do, right? First time, anytime you start in a section, write that at the top. Section 5.4 looks like we're solving some radical equations. You're going to find two, right? I'm going to abbreviate a lot. I feel like when I'm taking my own notes, you don't have to write a bunch of stuff down. The math is the most important thing, so we're going to use some abbreviations here. All right, I want you guys to look over on the side here. We got a couple objectives. First and foremost, we're going to solve radical equations in one variable, and then remember, we are at the point in our math careers that sometimes these math equations lie to us and we have to identify the extraneous solutions, the ones that don't make the original true. All right, so let's get right into it here. Example one. We are going to solve the equation, right? That's really the gist of it. Just solve the equation. Yes, it's got a radical. We're fine. We're doing it. All right, here we go. A. So we want to solve square root of x plus 5 minus 1 equals 3. So we know we want to isolate our variable, but our variable is locked inside that square root, so we must have to isolate the square root first. So we're going to add 1 to both sides. We get the square root of x plus 5 is equal to 4. Now, right, we know, having dealt with this enough before, we know that we have operations that can now undo radicals and roots and all those sorts of things. So of course, right, we should be thinking, how do you undo a square root? You square it. And I'm telling you, get in the habit of using parentheses, because even though I know you don't need to use the parentheses to know what 4 squared is, get in the habit of doing it. It's going to pay off later, I promise. So let's cancel that out. Square root undoes a square. X plus 5, we know 4 squared is 16. Nice little algebra 1 business here. Bada bing, bada boom. X is 11. Now, before we circle it and state it as fact, we need to test it, right? We need to test in the original. So let's just do a quick mental test here. Go back up to the very beginning of the problem. Sub in 11. 11 goes in for x. 11 plus 5 is 16. Square root of 16, 4. Minus 1, boom, gives us 3. Now we call it fact. It's solution. X does equal 11. Okay. Now I'm going to jump over to the side here. You can go beneath, like however you want to organize your notes, you do you. So we're going to do part B over here. The cube root of x plus 2 is equal to 4. All right, once again, I don't care what type of radical we have, right? Doesn't matter. We're trying to isolate x. It's locked under the rad, so here we go. Subtract 2. Start things off here. Cube root of x is equal to 2. Now, once again, we got our radical isolated. That's great. What operation can we do to undo a cube root? Sure enough, all you guys at home are screaming and yelling about it, right? Cube it. Boom. Cube root and a cube cancel. Left with x. 2 cubed, of course, is 8. Now, again, before we call it fact, we got to test it in the OG equation, that is. Go back up to the original. Cube root of x. Yes, it's 2. 2 plus 2, 4. Sure enough, bada bing, bada boom. Okay, so you guys have 2 try it problems. To give it a shot, go for it.